Hey guys, let me ask you this. Have you been pining for a pair of high-end headphones? And I know some of you are gonna stop me right there and say, Aaron, headphones, they're like obsolete, man. It's all about the earbuds this year. And that's another topic altogether, but if you've been shopping for or pining for a pair of high-end headphones, like the Bose 700s or the Sony WH-1000XM3 or 4, but find their prices way too steep, or you just want something different for a change from the big brands, well, you might be interested then in Status Audio's brand new flagship headphone called the Status Audio Flagship. Yes, that's very creative, but at least it's straight to the point and it's not like Sony's alphabet soup. But anyway, a while back, if you remember, I practically gushed over Status Audio's BT1 on-ear headphones for sounding way better than the price suggested. I think it was $80. And even back then, I was wondering if the flagship could have the same great audio capabilities of the BT1, but this time around with active noise cancellation with a competitive price. Well, let's put it through the paces and find out if this thing can pass muster. So let's do it right now. Alright, this is it guys. We have the Status Audio flagship in the house. Now, let me run over some specs before we take a deeper dive into things. So, these are strictly closed back over-the-ear headphones that have hybrid active noise cancellation with transparency mode. There's a Qualcomm chipset on board that offers a few primary features such as Bluetooth 5.0 for one with AAC, SBC, aptX, and aptX HD. So there's something for everyone pretty much. There's also multi-point Bluetooth capability. That means you can connect and switch between two devices simultaneously. And the next is also CVC noise reduction for phone calls, and we'll test that out in a bit. Now, Status Audio claims 35 hours battery life with active noise cancellation running. That's a really good number in theory, but I'm not so sure about that because during my test period, I pulled around 29.5 hours on average with active noise cancellation on at 65% volume. That's like 5 hours off the mark, but that being said, that's still a very good showing compared to many headphones. The weight is 260 grams or about 5 pounds more than the Sony WH-1000XM3. The price of entry is $199 if you want to play, which for comparison is $20 less than even a refurbed XM3. So I was just thinking, it's unfortunate that the flagship is only available in one color at this point because the elongated ear cup design is quite attractive, the workmanship, the material choices make me curious what it would look like in different colors like gray or white, because I think those colors will make this pop and stand out from the rest of the competition, so Status Audio should try that out. But anyway, the matte plastics used here, they add a lot of grip. It's quite frictional from the headband down all around the ear cup, and is similar to the updated materials in the brand new Sony 1000XM4s, which is a good thing. But that being said, I'm not sure if you can see this, even as I run my fingers along the ear pad right here, they leave behind grease and fingerprints, so you have to clean it from time to time. So, which is also why I wonder what it would look like in brighter colors that might hide things a little bit. By the way, no cows were harmed in the making of these headphones. It's all pleather business here with the ear cups as well as the headband. And in both of these areas, there's a generous amount of foam padding being used. As you can tell from the underside here, there's so much give, and there's a little bit at the top as well. And the ear cups, they're super comfortable. They're very compliant and they return to form quite quickly. And they remain cool even on hot days. And by the way, they're not removable, so bear that in mind. I've worn these for like 6-7 hours straight, never a problem. And don't forget, I have glasses too, so that always adds quite a lot more pressure on my skull at any given time. So these things handled it with aplomb. There are the left-right indicators on the inside here on these mesh coverings that protect the 40mm drivers on the inside. They're really well made, really nice to look at. On the left ear cup, you'll find the only physical buttons on this entire unit, and these have really good key press actions. Really surprised by these. When you tap them and use them, they have good feedback, really nice to the touch. Very impressed. And they're really well located as well. The fingers can find them quite easily. The power button is right here. If you hold it down for like 5 seconds, it powers the thing, cycles the thing on and off. With the power on, by the way, if you tap this once, it will tell you the battery life, albeit in a really soft guy's voice, which I'm not a fan of. I wish I can customize it to a lady's voice. But anyways, next to that is the ANC pass-through mode cycle button. And the LED light, as you can tell, is not super bright, really convenient for the person sitting next to you. USB-C charging port, 3.5mm port, and you cannot use these at the same time. If this is charging while you're listening to the 3.5, it doesn't work. One of the mics is here, 2 more at the top, right there and there. And if you pay close attention, there is no venting ports whatsoever. So if that's important to you, you might have to look somewhere else. Now, the right side is dedicated to swipe controls. This is the touch surface right here. And once you realize how this whole thing is laid out, you'll be surprised, or actually not surprised anymore, that this is like a direct copy of the Sony XM3s or even 4s. There's even the cup to activate transparency mode. When I cover my hand over the cup, it turns on pass-through. That's like the same thing. The control scheme is also almost identical. Swipe up or down for volume control. If you want to continuously go up or down, is swipe up or down and hold. Same thing. Forward and backward track is this way. Double tap to pause play or accept or reject phone calls. If you want to activate voice assistance, you tap and hold as well. Pretty much the same thing. One thing I want to talk about that's a little bit different from the Sony's is latency. One thing that Status Audio needs to figure out is, especially for the volume, is a little bit more annoying to me. It's like a 0.1 second, 0.2 second delay when I swipe up or down before the media on my device responds. So for some of you, that might be an annoyance, and some of you might not even care about it. So I thought I'd bring that up anyway.
Ambient sound on. Ambient sound and noise cancelling off. Active noise cancelling on. Ambient sound and noise cancelling off. Active noise cancelling on.
So if you haven't heard, I'm trying to get to 1 million subs. Yes, 1 million, don't laugh. But I know it takes baby steps, 10,000, 100,000, 200,000. But either way, I need your help to get me there. So if you like the stuff that I do, if you like the videos that I make, please consider subscribing to this channel. Mash and kill that button down below, and also turn on the bell notification icon. So thank you in advance for your help, guys. Now back to the program. So I'm out here ankle deep in snow, and we're going to be doing the Bluetooth distance test. I know the rest of the country is getting a lot of snow too, but I love this kind of weather. It's nice and cold, all nice and white. But I have some TikToking by Kyle Exum playing on Deezer right here. My son recommended this song for me to test it out. So we're going to walk around the house. I have the phone right there at the end of my deck, and we're going to take the FLAGSHIP ANC headphones around the back of my house, around to the side, and see when these things start disconnecting. So they have Bluetooth 5.0, these things do, and it should last around 30 to 33 feet before we get a disconnect. There's my phone at the end of my deck there. So I'm gonna walk around this way and see when we start having connection issues. How you guys doing? It's really beautiful out here today. It's like Christmas in February. I just like this kind of thing. So I hope you guys are doing fine and staying safe. I got a slight sputtering right here, signal loss. So for what it's worth, it's around, let's see, around 42 feet. And right now it's unintelligible, but I'm gonna keep walking until we get a complete signal loss. And still going strong in terms of just having it's holding on to a signal. Right here, it's around 60 feet, we get a complete disconnect. So that's not bad. It's pretty good on Status Audio's part. You can see the fit of these on my head. It's nice and compact on my skull. So anyways, let's move on to the microphone test for Bluetooth phone calls. Really, I'm sorry about my shortness of breath, but it's kind of hard trudging through this really ankle deep snow right here. And it's cold, geez. Anyways, on to the next segment. Okay, I'm taking us down to the main road right here to test the microphones on these to see how well they do with noise suppression. These have a weird arrangement of microphones. There's 3 on the left and 1 on the right, but what do I care? As long as it works good, how's that sound? As long as it works good, that's what's important. So these have a Qualcomm chipset running a CVC, a noise suppression algorithm. So it does a pretty good job. I tested these earlier and they sound pretty good. My voice is a little bit digitized. The intonation is reserved. Slightly lacking in bass, but it's nice and clear. So your listeners are going to be fine regardless of whether you're using this indoors or if you're down by the street walking your dog, Lord forbid in this snow, in this kind of weather. How's that sound? Here comes the car. I'm going to keep talking. How is the noise suppression there? Pretty darn good, right? When I switch between the camera and this, you can hear the difference in the sample. So yeah, nice job, Status. This is a pretty good job on your whatever you're doing here with noise suppression. Now, moving on to the positives, and my favorite thing is sound quality. Yes, the flagship definitely brings it, but when I compare this with the 1000XM3, this does not exceed that, so at least Sony is in a safe zone, but it does come very close. That being said though, there are three areas that I really like about the flagship, and mainly is the mids and the highs. They're happy to be there, they're really clear, although they're not as lively as the Sonys. Clarity is another strength, as well as bass, but this is a weird one. Now, the bass, if you're listening to rock, these things are solid. I love listening to the electric bass guitars on this one. You can hear the amplification, every single pluck. It's just solid. But when you switch over to something more acoustic, the bass of the acoustic guitar or percussion, it lacks the thwack, the final strength and the warmth that the Sonys do. Like when I listen to 3 Days Without You by Omar Baird, my test song, it just lacks that extra oomph that the Sonys have. So that's something to take note of, and I'll talk about this in the negatives in a second. Active noise cancellation in any device, it goes without saying, is pointless if the algorithm sucks, and thankfully the flagship excels, especially in the lows and killing out like the rumbles of a plane or a train, and the highs as well in terms of a conversation. In the mids, not so much, so if you want something like a chamber of silence, go with the Bose 700. But some of you may also wonder, is there any hissing to be heard? Like if this is quiet and you have active noise cancellation on, is there hissing in the ear cups? No, not in the traditional sense, because the only thing that I hear is in the right ear cup. It seems like there's like a really distant sound of an ocean, like sibilance of some kind, really soft, really distant ocean. And I mean distant, like I'm Superman, I'm standing on the East Coast and I can hear waves crashing at Point Reyes in California, that kind of distant. So for most of us, it's not a problem unless you have super hearing like Superman. And my last favorite thing about these headphones, and this one took me by surprise, is the clamping force and the weight distribution. It is just right. It's better than the Sonys actually. With the Sonys, when I shake my head or if I jump up and down, they do threaten to fall off. But these, they stay on my head really well. I can wear them for many hours and be super fine. I can chase after my dog, or I don't have a dog, but my pretend dog. I can chase after it and these things will stay on, and that's really reassuring. Now, let's get into the cons. And my biggest beef is the companion app, or the lack thereof actually, because if you're gonna call your headphones a top of the line flagship model with $199 and you wanna play with the big league, and yet you lack an app for me to customize my sound with an equalizer or tweak my controls and such, that's a huge omission. So Status Audio, do something about it, but otherwise, oh man, I can't believe there's no app with this thing. So earlier, we talked about that bass, no treble, and that it excels in rock music, but once you exit the genre, it kind of falls apart a little bit. So in the bass department, I wish there was a little bit more detail. It's not bad in any way. It's decidedly above average, but inferior to the BT1. I was expecting a little bit more from something flagship. So the specs are there. This thing has a frequency response of 10 kilohertz, which is better than a lot of headphones which have 20. So it's something they can feel in terms of bass, but that's true. I can feel it, but I can't hear the details, so I wish it was a little bit better. Maybe it has something to do with the lack of venting ports. It's not a big deal for most of us, but for some of you, this may be important. I want us to look now at the case that the headphones came in. It looks really nice. It has nice cloth fabric, really smooth zipper and everything. When you open it up, it has a nice pocket to store all the accessories in. But look at this dinky little stupid partition. What is this foam thing that's cut out that looks like a duck head or something? It's just ridiculous. It falls in here, it sits in here somewhere, it's not even Velcroed, and you're supposed to fold your headphones around this. What is this, Status Audio? Is this a spare piece of foam that you have lying around in the factory? So in conclusion, a Sony WH series, this is not. But it shows us yet again how small of an advantage the big brands have nowadays. So would I recommend the flagship? Oh yes, but with one big caveat. This is a fantastically performing headphone, I'll give it that, but it lacks a companion app, and because it doesn't, $199 is just way too high. Because for only $20 more, you can get a refurbished XM3, which is a more complete package. If this was like $130 or $140, I'll say go with it. But because it's priced as it is, I say go with a Sony or even a Jabra 85H. So all that being said, I want to give the Status Audio flagship active noise cancellation headphone a gear up score of 7.8 out of 10. And this is how I broke it down to get to the final score. Well, there you have it, guys. Thank you so much for being here and for watching this episode, and I hope you come back next Friday for a new one. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to this channel. Click the button down below, turn on the bell notification icon, and doing so will help me grow this channel and bring you more videos like this to watch. So thank you in advance for your help. You can also visit my Patreon page down here. We can support me in different ways and get your name shouted out right here. And also remember the thumbs up if you like this video, and comment nicely down below. That's super important. And thumbs down. Thumbs down to that incessant scratching in the ceiling of my bedroom. I'm not sure what's doing that. It's happening at like 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning and I can't get any sleep. It's either a squirrel, a mouse, or even a monkey. It's like between the crawl space of my attic and the ceiling of my roof. It's just really weird and I can't find out what it is. So thumbs down to you scratching in the middle of the night, killing my sleep and everything. That's just no bueno. But anyways, you guys take care of yourself. Remember to do something nice for somebody. Mask up, show some love in the world because it starts with you. And I'll see you next time. Peace out, guys.